Yo, what's good, y'all? Welcome back to Kid Taj. Today we are going to be talking about yesterday's game. Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. The Golden State Warriors hosting the 2-seed San Antonio Spurs. And a lot went down in this game. This was a crazy game. Very eventful. And the main thing we're going to be talking about, of course, is this play. Kawhi Leonard, when the Spurs were up 23 points, having a great game in this one, undercut by Zaza Pachulia on a jumper, and he left the game. And they say he's doubtful for game 2, and this led to Golden State's huge, I think it was like an 18-0 run after this or something, but they got back in this game and they won this game at the end, coming back down 25. Now the whole debate around this play is, was this a dirty play? I've thought about this a lot today. I've watched tons of videos today about what different sports analysts think about this. Anywhere from First Take to Undisputed to Colin Cowherd and all these guys. What people think. Greg Popovich, we know what he thinks. If you didn't see it, Greg Popovich thought it was a dirty play. He said that it was clearly, something that you're not supposed to do. That 2-step on the closeout is the extra step, is what, it's where injuries happen. We got to hear what Zaza and Kawhi had to say on this. Both of them didn't think it was a dirty play. But it's Kawhi Leonard. Do you really think Kawhi Leonard's going to go and say, yeah, that was a dirty play? He's not like that. He's not that kind of person. You can't expect him to, do that. He's not going to think of it like that. Now, in my opinion, this play was dirty. I think it was dirty. It is dirty. You know what? And I'm going to explain why it was dirty. And even if it was unintentional, intentional or unintentional, this is a dirty play because this is the easiest way to sprain an ankle in the NBA. This is an automatic rolled ankle. I mean, literally, if you put your foot under a jump shooter and they don't know where they're going to land, they're not braced for the fall. And this has happened so many times. I've seen this over and over again. The league, they've made statements about, okay, you can't do this. This should be a flagrant foul for sure. This should be so prohibited because this is just an injury waiting to happen. Basically, every time this happens, and the league needs to be okay, flagrant 1 every time this happens. I don't care if it was intentional or not. This is such an easy way for somebody to get hurt, and it happened. It's already happened. It happened to Markieff Morris. It happened right now to Kawhi Leonard, and I do have a reason for thinking that it's obvious that it's dirty. No matter what. If you didn't do it on purpose, it's still a dirty play. It's just not an intentional dirty play. Now, was it intentional? That's the bigger problem people are talking about. Nobody knows if it's intentional or not. We make our speculations. I can't say for sure if it is or isn't. But I think it was intentional, and I'm going to say why. First of all, it just so happened that Kawhi Leonard had, a tweaked left ankle before this game, okay? He was out of the Rockets game because of this ankle, okay? And he did the same exact thing. He sprained it or rolled it or whatever in game 5 of Rockets Spurs. And what leads me to believe this the most is the fact that Kawhi Leonard rolled his ankle basically 1 or 2 minutes just before this happened. I mean, it literally, he went down, grabbing his ankle, he rolled it on someone's foot on the bench, and everybody knew what happened. And just a coincidence that maybe 1 or 2 plays later, Zaza Pachulia just happens to cut him off on the same ankle that he was already injured. Come on. There's no way that's a coincidence. It's just, to me, it just seems all too obvious, too much of a coincidence. It can't be a coincidence. I can't see that. Now, if it were someone like Steph Curry doing this, or I don't know, Klay Thompson, guys that don't have a history like this, maybe I think we definitely let it slide, especially someone like Steph Curry. Steph Curry, I think, we all know he's a pretty nice guy. He's not a dirty player. He wouldn't do something like this. At least I think that's the thought in everybody's mind. If I'm wrong, somebody inform me if Steph Curry's a dirty player. But if it's someone like Draymond Green, and yeah, Zaza Pachulia, even though it's not as covered because he's not that good at all, they're dirty players. Draymond Green is a great player, and he's a dirty player, and we all know that he's a dirty player because he's great. Zaza Pachulia is just as dirty of a player, but we didn't know that much about it because it's Zaza Pachulia. He's not a guy that's always targeted by the press, the media, except in Georgia, because he's pretty big in Georgia. But in the USA, people don't care about Zaza Pachulia, except Warriors fans, and no Warriors fans are going to cry about how Zaza's a dirty player because he's on their team. But Greg Popovich, he had great evidence behind accusing Zaza of being a dirty player. Basically, I don't think he actually said those words, but he had 3 different incidents where Zaza made dirty plays. The one on Patty Mills, the one on Kawhi Leonard earlier, which looked like Kevin Love getting injured by Kelly Olynyk, kind of like that. Zaza locked arms with Kawhi, and then he wouldn't let him go and spun. That one was bad. I mean, I think that one was definitely the most dirty one, because I think Kawhi might have even gotten injured from that. And that's you can do the same. You can dislocate a shoulder like that. You can break an arm, like Popovich said. And so that's 3 incidents, and that's not just 3 incidents in general. That's 3 incidents against San Antonio. Just think about how many times that's done to other teams or players on other teams. Like Zaza Pachulia has just 3 incidents against the Spurs. Well, it's probably not just against the Spurs. So he does have a history. You can look back, and he gave us a reason why there's a history. Now, the question is, will the league do anything about this? This is huge because, look, if Zaza had done this to, I don't know, Kyle Anderson, nobody would give a shit about this. It's not a big deal because he's not significant. Whether Kyle Anderson is healthy, no offense to Kyle Anderson, because he actually had a decent game and he had a decent stretch in that game 1. But if Kyle Anderson is jeopardized by something like this, nobody really cares because it doesn't really have a huge effect on them winning or losing. It's just another man down, which they don't need, but it's not a huge deal. No one's going to really put him on the microscope for this. Now, the fact that it happened to be Kawhi Leonard, in my opinion, the second best player in the NBA, and the guy that is the only way that the San Antonio Spurs can win this series. If you have this guy, you take him out of this series, there's no chance. It just happened to be that guy. The one guy that's killing you, the one guy that's the reason you're down 23 points. It's huge. And I hope the league takes a look at this. They better take a look at this. This can't just go unnoticed because, like I said, whether it was intentional or not, and I do believe it was intentional, but even if it wasn't intentional, it's still a dirty, dirty play. And it just gave them a free ride to the NBA Finals. It really did, because the Spurs were going to win this game. Don't give me any of this BS like, oh, Warriors were going to heat up anyway. No, it was not a coincidence that the Warriors just happened to go on an 18-0 run right when Kawhi left the game. I think it was 18-0, or if I'm wrong about that, it was a run. It was a huge run they went on. So, you really think that if Kawhi was in, they would have had that? They won by 2 points. You really think Kawhi couldn't have made the difference of 2 points? Do you really think that? Come on, just stop. If Kawhi had played this game, we all know, even Warriors fans know, the Spurs would have won this game. And would they have won the series? Probably not, but they would have had a much better chance than now, because now they're down 0-1. They lose their chance to steal a game in Golden State because Kawhi's doubtful for tomorrow's game, game 2. And that means they're probably going to lose that game, go down 2-0. When you go down 2-0 to the Warriors, it's pretty much over anyway. And when you do get Kawhi back, if he plays in Game 3, you really think there's going to be a Kawhi at 100%? You really think he's going to be playing at his best in that game? It's over, okay? It's so tough just as a basketball fan, because I loved seeing this. If the Spurs get a win on the Warriors, we have some competition in the Western Conference. Someone can hang with the Warriors. That's what I'm thinking. And they get a win, it's like, okay, we got a series here, and it just ruins it. It just ruins the whole thing for everybody. Even Warriors fans, maybe, actually, no, not Warriors fans. Warriors fans love this, unless, they're like, well, we want to face them at full strength. I don't know. I mean, maybe it depends on who you are, really. But everybody like me that's an NBA fan, this just sucks. It's terrible. Because now it's like, okay, well, one team has Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, and the other team has, oh yeah, that guy that kept chucking up shots and missing in the second half of last game, LaMarcus Aldridge. You got Patty Mills, who was like 1 for 8. You got Pau Gasol, Jonathan Simmons. Look, you got Greg Popovich coaching them. That's the only hope. You somehow get the team to play like what they did against Houston, I guess. Yeah, but even that was more of a product of James Harden just being awful rather than, the Spurs being great. Even though the Spurs were great that game, James Harden didn't really press the issue. He didn't do anything. So yeah, it's over. It's done. Zaza Pachulia, he won this series for the Golden State Warriors. I honestly don't understand why there isn't a bigger punishment for stuff like this. I know that, look, the only reason that it's getting blown out of proportion is because it was on Kawhi Leonard, yes, but that does have a huge effect. I mean, it ruins the series, like, for the reasons I just said. It's a sad time. It just makes it look like, okay, Warriors, Cavs 3. I mean, that's just what we're gonna get. And I'm rooting hard for LeBron James, which is something I don't usually do. Because, I mean, if you've caught me talking on this channel about, you know, the Cavs or the Warriors, they're my least two least favorite teams in the NBA, the Cavs and the Warriors. I hate both of them. I want them both to lose so bad. So it sucks because I'm gonna have to see those two teams in the finals again, and have to, like, I actually rooted for the Warriors the last 2 years, and the reason why I did, because I didn't hate the Warriors until this year. When Kevin Durant left Oklahoma City, look, he ruined the NBA. I made a video about that. So I hate the Warriors, mostly just Kevin Durant and Zaza now. But I mean, it's just fuck that. Like, you don't deserve a ring for what you did, Kevin Durant. I'm not even rooting against the Warriors because of anybody else in their team rather than Kevin Durant and Zaza Pachulia now. It used to be just KD, but now it's Zaza too. So yeah, that sucks. I mean, I made a video about how, a pretty, like, negative video about how KD ruined the NBA. Talked about, it's just gonna be Warriors, Cavs 3 again, we already know. And in game 1 of this Spurs game, I was just, my hope was, it was getting a little bit up there with that lead. It was getting better. It was like, okay, maybe there's another power in the Western Conference, but now there isn't. Man, it's really tough. Tell me what you guys think about this. Was the play dirty? I mean, I think it's dirty by default, so I should ask, was it intentional? Yeah, I don't really have a lot more to say on this. Like this up if you enjoy, comment. Yeah, like what I said. Who's gonna win the finals, Cavs or Warriors? Who you got? That's what we're resorting to now. I probably would still have the Warriors beating the Cavs, even though I don't want them to win. Yeah, that's gonna do it. Subscribe if you're new, if you enjoyed this. I'm out. Thanks for watching, y'all. Peace.